Okay, magandang araw po. So let's take another example. So we have a given figure here wherein the requirement of this problem is for us to draw the shear and moment diagram. So as discussed in our LMS videos, we have two methods to draw the shear and moment diagram. First one is to get the shear and moment equations. And then the second one, the more simple one, is the area method. So for this one, we will solve this first using the shear and moment equations. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, so let's start. First one is to solve first for the reactions of the support. So meron tayo dito, roller connection or roller support at point B and a hinge support at point D. Pag roller support po, ilan po yung mag-a-act doon na force? Meron tayong isa, which is always perpendicular to the given surface. Ito yung surface po, horizontal. So yung perpendicular force doon, vertical. So we will let this as reaction at point B. And then, kay point D naman, meron tayong dalawang force na mag-act doon. And that is always perpendicular to the given surface and parallel to the given surface. Pero yung parallel force, parallel to the surface na force, is a horizontal force. At wala na ka-counteract sa kanya na horizontal force. Therefore, that is considered as 0. So, ibig sabihin, at support D, meron lang tayo ding isang reaction doon. That is vertical reaction at point D. So, we have given also distance here. This is 2 meters. This is 2 meters. And this is 3 meters. So, if we are going to solve for the reaction at point D, we will just take summation of moment at point D equivalent to 0. And then, let's assume clockwise moment is positive. So, the reaction at point D here, going to point D is a clockwise direction moment. So, that is a positive moment. So, that is reaction at point B multiplied by the perpendicular distance. Ano yung perpendicular distance niya? Papunta kay point D. Ito yung perpendicular distance. That is a total of 5 meters. And then, we have also a 50 kN force here. Papunta kay point D, ang kanyang direction is counterclockwise. So, that is a negative moment. So, that is force 50 times perpendicular distance of 3 meters. Ito yung perpendicular distance niya. And, next one, the rectangular force here. We have a rectangular force with base 4 and a height of 10. So, gaya mismo nun sa statics of rigid bodies, pag sinabing rectangular force, yung magnitude ng force na yun ay yung area ng ating rectangular area. So, that is force times perpendicular distance. So, yung kanyang direction po, pababa yung forces natin. So, pag i-moment natin kay point D, counterclockwise direction. So, that is a negative moment. Force times perpendicular distance. Ano yung force? It's just the area of rectangle. Anong area ng rectangle? Base times height. So, that is 10 times 4 or 4 times 10. Multiplied by the perpendicular distance. Ano yung perpendicular distance? Itong force na to, yung area na yan, 10 by 4, mag-a-act mismo yun sa centroid ng ating rectangular area. Nasaan po pa yung centroid? Nasa gitna po. Kalahati ng 4. So, 2 meters, 2 meters. Nandito po yung 10 times 4 na force. So, pag i-moment natin yung kay point D, a total of perpendicular distance na 5 meters. And that will be equivalent to 0. So, kung isolve natin mismo yung reaction at point B, that will be equivalent to, so this is positive 150, positive 200, a total of 350 divided by 5, that will become 70 kilonewtons. And then, if we will take summation of forces along vertical axis equivalent to 0, going upward will be positive. So we have reaction at point B is positive, plus reaction at point T, that is also positive, minus 50, and then minus the rectangular area. So that is 10 times 4, equivalent to 0. So yung RB natin, that is 70, makukuha na natin yung reaction at point B. So i-solve natin, this is 20, or this is 40, plus 50, 90, minus 70, that is 20 kilonewtons. So we already have the reactions. Pag may reactions na po tayo, pwede na po tayong kumuha ng shear and moment equations. So, mapapansin natin mismo sa ating loadings, sa ating beam, meron tayong tatlong span. Span AB, span BC, and then span CD. Ibig sabihin, meron tayong tatlong sections na gagawin para makuha natin mismo yung shear and moment equation. At span AB, isi-section daw po natin yun. Hahatiin natin mismo yung beam sa gitna mismo ng AB. Okay, so pag ginawa po natin yun, ito po yung magiging kalalabasan. Meron tayong load dito na 10 kilonewtons per meter. This is point A. Ito, yung distance na to ay X. Bakit X? Kasi hindi natin alam mismo yung kung saan natin i-section or hahatiin yung ating span AB. Wherein yung X na yun po pwedeng mas malapit o pwedeng 0 na kay point A po pwedeng na kay point B. Sa span na yun, from point A to point B. Therefore, yung span AB wherein yung X natin could be greater than or equal to 0 meter but less than or equal to 2 meters dahil mismo yun yung ating span AB. Kinonsider po natin yung section na nasa left side. Po pwede nyo rin pong i-consider yung section na nasa right side. Kaya lang, yung section natin na nasa right side, medyo mas madaming force na i-consider. Pero kung i-drawing po natin yun, ganito po yung magiging kalalabasan. This is 50. This is point P. Meron tayong reaction at point B. And reaction at point B. This is 10 kilonewtons. Ito yung magiging X po natin. So, mas madami po yung force na i-consider natin. So, hindi po natin yun i-consider. Mas simple po yung loadings natin dito sa ating left side section. Okay, let's continue. Let's consider this section. Ngayon, etong section na to, sabi nga sa statics of rigid bodies, kapag pumuputol tayo mismo ng member ng isang structure, may lumalabas na force. Method of sectioning or method of joints. Wherein dito sa part na to, may lalabas tayong shear dyan, which is going downward always. And then, meron tayong moment, which is always counterclockwise direction dahil yun yung positive directions nila. Pero kapag ito naman yung kinonsider natin, ang magiging positive direction ng shear natin ay going upward, and yung magiging positive direction ng moment natin is clockwise direction. Again, we will not consider this one. We will consider this diagram. Okay, so meron tayong diagram, pwede na tayong kumuha ng shear and moment equations. For shear equations first. Para makuha natin yon, we will take summation of forces along y-axis equivalent to 0. Considering upward is positive, nasa yung mga upward, wala. Downward tayo. Saan yung downward na yon? Yung rectangular area. Downward, negative. 10 times x. And then meron tayong downward na shear force, minus v. Meron pa po ba? Wala na. And that will be equivalent to 0. So, kung kukunin natin mismo yung equation ng V o yung shear equation natin, ilipat lang natin ito para maging positive. Therefore, V is equivalent to negative 10x. Yan po yung tinatawag nating shear equation. Wherein, at x equivalent to 0, bakit 0? Yun po yung span ng AB natin. So, kung yung x daw ay 0, ano yung magiging V natin? Substitute lang po natin. V equivalent to negative 10 times 0, that is 0. And then, at x equivalent to 2 meters, again, substitute lang natin yung x as 2 meters. So, negative 10 times 2, that is negative 20 kilonewtons. Okay, so we already have the shear equations and its values. Next one, moment equations. Paano natin kukunin moment equation? We will just take summation of moment at this point. Okay, so let's take summation of moment equivalent to 0. Considering clockwise moment is positive. So, yung rectangular area papunta kay point na yun, ano yung galaw? Counterclockwise, negative. Negative 10 times x, that is the force, multiplied by the perpendicular distance. Ano ulit yung perpendicular distance? Nasa centroid mismo yung force ng rectangular area. So, kalahati ng x, that is x over 2. And then, we also have the moment. Yung moment natin is counterclockwise. So, that is negative. Dahil clockwise ay positive. Equivalent to 0. So, kung kukunin natin mismo yung moment equation natin, transpose mo lang doon maging positive. M is equivalent to, simplify, do the math, guys. Alam nyo yan. Negative 5x squared. Again, substitute lang natin yung value ng x equivalent to 0. Ano yung x equals 0? Negative 5 times 0 squared. Moment is 0. And then, at x equivalent to 2 meters. Again, do the math, guys. Negative 5 times 2 squared. That will be negative 20 kilonewton meter. So, we are done with span AB. Next one, consider naman natin yung span BC. So, para makonsider natin span BC, section ulit po tayo dito, guys. Sa gitna ng BC. Then, consider natin mismo yung left side section or yung right side section. Maalin man po, okay lang. Dahil parehas lang naman na mahirap yung loadings natin. Parehas lang yung loadings natin sa magkabilang side. So, again, let's consider yung nasa left side. So, kung isa-section natin yon at span BC, so, yung section natin doon, let's draw first. Meron tayong 10 kilonewton per meter. Meron tayong RB dito. Ang RB natin ay 70 kilonewtons. And this is at a distance of x. Again, hindi natin alam kung saan natin isa-section yung x. Basta nasa pagitan mismo ng B at saka point C. Yung 50 kilonewtons doon, hindi po natin siya sinali dahil sa gitna po natin siya isa-section. So, nasa right side po siya. Ang kinonsider po natin yung nasa left side. Okay, gets po? Okay, sa pag-selection natin ulit, may lalabas na shear force, palaging downward. And then, yung moment, palaging counterclockwise kapag left side section yung kinonsider. Again, yung BC natin, span BC, anong value ng x natin? Where x is greater than or equal to, nasan ba yung span BC? 2 meters, but less than or equal to 4 meters. Dahil yung BC natin, from point A, 2 to 4 meters siya. Dahil yung x natin nag-umpisa kay point A. Nagigets po ba? Okay, so we're done with that. So pag na-draw na natin na maayos yung ating free body diagram, po pwede na po tayong kumuha ng shear and moment equations. Okay, so let's consider this one. Shear equation first. Paano kukunin yun? Let's take summation of forces along vertical axis. Considering upward forces ay positive. Ano yung mga upward? We have 70. And we have downward force, yung rectangular area, minus 10 times x. Base ay x, ang height ay 10. And then we have downward, minus v equivalent to 0. So, makukuha natin yung shear equation along span BC. That is equivalent to maging positive 70 minus 10x. So, para makuha natin yung shear values natin, we will just substitute the values of x, which is 2 meters and then 4 meters along span BC. So, first one at x equivalent to 2 meters. Substitute lang natin, guys. Do the math again, guys. 70 minus 10 times 2. That is 50 kilonewtons. And then, at x equivalent to 4 meters, what is V? 70 minus 10 times 4. So, 70 minus 40, that is positive 30 kilonewtons. Okay, gets po, guys? Okay, next one. Moment. Let's take summation of moment equivalent to 0. Clockwise direction is positive. Ano yung mga clockwise? Moment po natin 70, papunta sa point na ito. Ang moment niya ay clockwise direction. So, positive yun. 70 times perpendicular distance. Anong perpendicular distance niya? From this point to this point. X mismo yun. Ano yung distance na to? This is a distance of 2 meters. Yung perpendicular distance lang na kinoconsider po natin is from this point to this point. Ano po yun? X minus 2. And then, the rectangular area may moment po. Papunta kay point na to, that is counterclockwise moment. So, that is a negative moment. 10 times x times perpendicular distance of x over 2. And then we have counterclockwise moment here. That is minus m equivalent to 0. So, simplify lang natin, guys. Kunin natin moment equation. Transpose natin to. Magiging positive siya. 70 times x minus 2. Simplify this one. Minus 5x squared. So, that will be our moment equation. Again, guys, substitute po natin yung values ng x. At x equals to 2 meters. Dahil nasa span BC pa rin tayo. Ano yung magiging value ng m? 70 times 2 minus 2. Cancel yun. So, negative 5 times 2 squared. Negative 20 kilonewton meter. Next one. At x equals 4 meters. Calculator lang natin yan, guys. 70 times 4 minus 2. 140 minus 5 times 4 squared. So, 5 times 16, 80. 140 minus 80, that is 60 kilonewton meter. Okay. So, we are done with span BC. Last one po. The third span, CD. So, section po natin yan dito sa part na yan. Kung isa-section po natin yan, ito yung left side section, right side section. Ano napapansin nyo po? Mas madaling i-consider yung nasa right side section. So, at span CD, na-drawing lang po natin, meron po tayong reaction at point D doon, which is, nakuha na natin 20 kilonewtons. Yan lang. Wala na, dahil ito yung kinonsider natin. Section mo yan dito sa part na yan, i-consider mo yung nandun. So, yan lang yung figure natin. Pero pag hinati natin sa part na yun, sa gitna ng CD, may lalabas na shear, force, and then moment. Pero kapag nandito, right side section, ang positive ng shear ay pataas. Ang positive ng moment ay clockwise. Okay. So, from this point up to this point, that is x. Hindi natin alam. So, let's get our shear and moment equation. For the shear equation first, we will take summation of forces along vertical equivalent to 0. Taking upward forces are positive, we have V upward, we have 20 upward plus 20 equivalent to 0. Velocity, shear force is negative 20 kilonewtons. Kung mapapansin nyo po, yung equation natin na nakuha, walang x na variable. So, kung magsusubstitute ka ng x, kahit anong value, wala. Kasi wala kang may substitute na value ng x. Ano po ba yung span CD natin? Or x is greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to 3 meters. Dito tayo nagumpisa sa point D. Take note guys. So, yung x natin magumpisa doon 0 to C, 3 meters. So, at x equivalent to 0, walang magbabago. Shear force is negative 20. At x equivalent to 3 meters, shear force is also negative 20 dahil wala namang x na substitute natin guys. Diyan. And then, let's take summation of moment equivalent to 0. Taking clockwise direction is positive. We have moment, positive. And then, RD, papunta sa point na yon, moment natin that is counterclockwise. So, that is minus or negative moment, 20 times x equivalent to 0. So, moment is equivalent to 20x. So, meron tayong equation doon wherein pwede natin i-substitute yung values ng x natin. First one, at x equivalent to 0, substitute lang po natin, moment is equivalent to 0. And then yung moment natin is 20 times 3. Moment will be equivalent to 60 kilonewton meter. So, that will be our shear and moment values. Wala pa po tayong diagrams dyan. Okay, nakuha na po natin lahat ng values. Pag nakuha na po natin lahat ng values, po pwede na po natin i-draw yung ating shear and moment diagram. So, balik tayo dito. Okay. So, project lang po natin para mas madaling mag-graph. Project natin si point D. Okay, first one, i-draw muna natin yung shear diagram. Okay, para may drawing natin yung shear diagram, titingnan lang po natin lahat ng values na nakuha natin kay V. Sa span AB muna tayo, dito muna. Nasaan po yung values ng V natin? Eto. At x equals 0, AB, 0 to 2 meters. At x equals 0, ang VI, 0. At x equals 2, ang VI negative 20. Sa 2 meters daw, ang velocity ay negative 20. Nasa negative side. Okay. Take note of this, guys. Yung diagram natin dito ay horizontal. Pag horizontal po, yun ay tinatawag natin 0 degree curve. So, pag 0 degree curve siya dyan, pag dodrawing na natin siya dito, magiging first degree. So, pag first degree ka dyan, pag dodrawing natin siya dito, second degree. Pag second degree ka dyan, pag idodrawing natin dito, third degree. Okay, nag-a-add lang po ng isang degree. Since 0 degree po ito, horizontal, magiging first degree ito. Pag sinabing first degree curve, parang triangular yung itsura ng ating graph. Ibig sabihin, straight line. Kukonect lang natin dalawang point, that's it. That is a first degree curve. Straight line pero triangular. Okay, so we're done with span AB. Yung shear naman na nakuha natin kay span BC. So, titingnan natin mga values. Span BC, nandito, nasan yung shear? Yung mga V values. At x equals 2 meters, positive 50. At x equals 2 meters, nandito pa rin tayo, positive 50 daw. So, nasa taas. This is 50. At x equals 4, positive 30. Nandito yung 4. Positive 30. So, this is 30. Again, take note of this, guys. Span BC, yung curve natin dito ay 0 degree. So, pag i-graph natin to, first degree, straight line. And then ito, ko-connect lang natin. So, tumaas siya. And then, we're done with span BC. Next one is span CD. Yung shear values na nakuha natin kay CD. Nasaan yun? Negative 20 at x equals 0, negative 20. Okay. At x equals 0, negative 20 at x equals 3, negative 20. Nasaan ba yung x equals 0 natin? Baliktad natin, guys. Nandito yung 0, nandito yung 3. Dahil binaliktad natin yung what do you call this one section natin. At x equals 0, negative 20. At x equals 3, negative 20. Negative 20, negative 20. So, connect lang natin. Negative 20, negative 20. Horizontal line lang yun. Maging 0 degree siya. So, that will be our shear diagram. Gets po ba? Again, huwag pong mahiyang magtanong, mag-chat lang po kapag hindi naintindihan yung discussion natin, and then I'll be happy to rediscuss again our topic. Next one, our moment diagram. So, para ma-drawing natin yung moment diagram natin, titinan natin lahat ng moment values na nakuha natin. First one is span AB. Tingnan natin span AB natin kanina. At x equals 0, dito, moment is 0. At x equals 2 meters, moment is negative 20. So, nasa baba, negative 20. Okay. Take note of this, guys. Medyo nakakalito ito. Ano ulit tong curve na to? First degree. So, kapag i-drawing natin dito kay moment diagram, magiging second degree curve. So, curve na siya. Pag second degree, third degree, fourth degree, and so on, yung pa-curve na talaga. Yung curve na tinatawag na natin, yung medyo sanay tayo. Also, this also curve, but then, iba lang yung degree natin. So, yung pa-curve natin, hindi natin alam kung sad curve pa ganyan or pa-happy curve na pa ganyan. Dahil dalawa yung curve natin, orientation natin pag i-connect natin yung dalawang point na to. Ngayon, paano natin malalaman kung pa-sad curve or pa-happy curve? Okay, take note of this, guys. Etong curve natin dito, nag-umpisa kay 0. And then, nagkaroon ng value habang papunta kay point B. So, ibig sabihin, nag-start siya kay minimum. Nandito yung maximum part natin eh. Ito minimum, 0 siya dun eh. So, ibig sabihin, this curve is a minimum curve. Nagigets po ba? So, pag minimum curve po tayo dun, minimum curve din dapat yung makukuha natin dito. Paano ba yung minimum curve? Take note of this, guys. Pag ganyan yung curve natin, happy curve, maumbok po. Maximum yung curve natin makukuha. Pero pag ganyan po, minimum yung curve na makukuha natin. Compared dito, which is a maximum curve. Since minimum yun, minimum curve dapat nito. Nagigets po ba? That is a second degree curve. First degree curve. Okay, gets po? Again, mag-chat lang po kapag hindi po naintindihan yung part na yon. Next one is span BC. Tingnan natin yung moments natin na nakuha kay span BC. At x equals 2, negative 20. At x equals 2, ito pa rin yung point na yon. At x equals 4, positive 60. Nasa taas. Okay, i-connect natin yung dalawa. Ngayon, first degree curve yon, second degree curve dito. So, paano natin ulit i-connect yon? Sad curve ba or happy curve? Tingnan natin. Etong curve natin dito, nag-umpisa siya kay 50 compared kay 30. Ibig sabihin, nag-start siya sa mas mataas na value. Ibig sabihin, maximum curve ang tawag dito. So, paano ba tayo makakagawa ng maximum curve? Kapag dito yung first point natin, ito yung axis niya, ibig sabihin, ito yung maximum curve natin. Dahil pag happy curve po yung ginawa natin with respect to this axis, that will be a minimum curve. Okay, naintindihan po ga? Okay, last one. Yung point naman ng moments natin kay span CD. Nasa span CD natin. At x equals 0, moment is 0. And then, at x equals 3, hindi natin naisama kanina, moment is 60. So, at x equals 0, moment is 0. At x equals 3, moment is 60. Tingnan natin yung curve natin dito guys, that is 0 degree horizontal. Pag i-connect natin yung dalawa, that is first degree. 0 degree, first degree. Ano ba yung first degree? Parang triangular lang. So that is first degree. Second degree. And that will be our shear and moment diagram for this given problem. Okay. I-solve naman po natin ngayon yung ginawa nating problem kanina using area method mismo. Yung ginawa natin kanina medyo complicated lang po using shear and moment equations, but that method will be useful in dealing with problems regarding deflection of beams. Specifically sa pagko-compute mismo ng deflection using double integration method. So, ang gagawin natin ngayon mismo yung mas simple, area method. Wherein yung area method, useful din ito sa deflection method mismo ng beams, pero ibang method naman siya, using area moment method naman. So, kailangan nyo pong aralin mismo yung dalawang method para mas mag-grasp nyo mismo ng maayos yung mga susunod na topics. Okay. So, for this one, area method, kukunin natin yung area. That's it. Span is per span po. This is point A, point B, point C, and point D. So, lilipat lang natin points by point. So, let's draw first our shear diagram. We will start with 0. So, pag gusto na po natin i-drawing mismo, yung shear diagram natin, sa point B, kailangan na po natin i-consider yung area from point A to point B. Ano ba yung area natin? Rectangular. Saan yung area rectangular na yun? Base times height, that is 10 times 2. Ano po ba yung 10 times 2? That is, ano po ba yung 10 times 2? 20. Since pababa po siya, 0 minus 20. Bakit minus po? Pababa po yung ating area o yung force natin. So, that is negative 20. So, 0 degree po, magiging first degree siya dyan. And then, negative 20, papansin nyo dito, may pataas na force. So, tataas lang po yung ating shear diagram. Negative 20 plus 70, magiging 50. Positive. Tataas na siya. Okay. Next one. 50. Pupunta tayo kay point C. Yung madadaanan nating area ay rectangular area ulit. So, ano po ba yung area? Base times height. The base is 2. The height is 10. So, 50 minus. Bakit po minus? Dahil pababa po yung area natin. Pababa po yung force na makukuha natin dito. So, 50 minus the area, 2 times 10. So, that is 50 minus 20, that is positive 30. Again, 0 degree po yon, magiging first degree tayo dito. And then 30, papansin nyo dito, may pababang force. So, ima-minus lang natin yon since that is a downward force. So, positive 30 minus 50, 30 minus 50 is negative 20. And then, dito naman, walang force na makikita nyo. Ibig sabihin, pag walang force, magre-retain lang po siya papunta kay point D. As is. I-retain lang natin siya. Horizontal line. And then, negative 20 pa rin to. Since nag-retain tayo, may positive or upward force na 20. Negative 20 plus 20, that is 0. Yun po yung checking nyo guys. Kapag hindi po siya nag-0 dito kay point D, sa last point po, ibig sabihin may mali po sa solution natin. Pero kapag nag-0, tama po yung ating nakuhang values at tama din po yung ating shear diagram. Okay. Next one, the moment diagram. Okay, drawing po natin. Area method pa rin po tayo. Madali naman area. Alam na lang nyo na yan. First year pa lang. Area of plane figures. Okay, let's start with 0. Unless may moment na nakalagay doon. Hindi siya mag-start sa 0. Wala namang moment sa point A, ibig sabihin start tayo kay 0. And then, yung moment natin kay point D, paano natin makukuha yung moment natin doon? Area lang ng span AB. Area ng shear diagram along span AB. Anong area natin doon? Triangle. 1/2 base times height. So, 0 minus. Bakit minus po? Negative yung area. Negatives po. Pwede rin pong plus. Kaya lang, i-consider nyo yung sign ng mga forces. Okay lang din po yun. So, 0 plus the area. Ano yung area? Triangle. 1/2. A base. Ano yung base? 2 meters. Ano yung height? Negative 20. So, what will be the answer? That is negative 20. So, negative 20 daw po. So, first degree, second degree, nag-start kay 0. Ito yung mas malaking part. Minimum curve. Dapat minimum curve din tayo dito. Paano yung minimum curve? That is a sad curve. Dahil yung happy curve mismo, maumbok masyado, maximum yung tinatawag na yun. Ito, hindi masyadong maumbok. Yan yung minimum curve na tinatawag. Okay. Since negative 20, mag-start tayo kay negative 20. Plus, pupunta tayo ngayon kay area ng span BC. Anong area natin dyan? Area ng trapezoid. Anong area ng trapezoid? 1/2 base. Ano yung base? 2 meters multiplied by the mean height. Ano yung mean height? Ibig sabihin, average height. So, ano yung average ng dalawa? 50 plus 30 divided by 2. And that will be equivalent to, so, ito cancelled na. 50 plus 30, 80, 40. That is, maging sagot po natin dito. 80, 40. That is, hindi. Wala na po tayong 1/2 doon. Dahil nandito na po yung 1/2. Okay. Sorry for that, guys. Cancel na po natin yung 1/2 doon. Base times mean height po. Area of trapezoid is base times the mean height or the average height. Okay. So, cancel po yun. So, 50 plus 30, 80, that is 60 kilonewton per meter. So, positive na tayo, 60. Again, nag-start tayo kay 50. Maximum. Nag-start tayo sa mas larger na value. Maximum curve yan. So, dapat maximum yung curve na makukuha natin. Para maging maximum, yan po tayo. Kasi with respect to this axis of first point, ito yung maximum curve na tinatawag. And then, since 60 yun, plus area ng span CD. Area of shear diagram of span CD. Ano ba yung area na yun? Rectangular. So, base times height plus base of 3 meters, a height of negative 20. So, that is 0. So, 0 tayo doon. 0 degree, magiging first degree. Again, guys, pag hindi po siya nag-0, mali po yung magiging sagot po natin. Yun po yung checking nyo. Dapat palaging nag-0 po yung ating nakukuhang value sa last part.